Hello and welcome to another vintage cube draft on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I had a great time in the last one. Maybe we'll play some more of the 64 player elimination cubes, but right now I just want to hop in and have a good time with this cube. So, pack one, pick one. I am looking at Wheel of Fortune, Birds of Paradise, Sneak Attack, and I guess I'm looking at Splinter Twin, just to, you kind of got to know when there's two card combos in the cube, like Splinter Twin or Thopter Foundry, you want to just note that they're there, so that if you see the other one, you can snatch it up early and hope for a wheel, or just know that it's not going to be there if you see the other one late. I love a good sneak attack deck, and I think Wheel of Fortune may be a little bit better, but I really want to play Sneak Attack, and I'm here to have a good time. So let's draft this Sneak Attack, and hopefully wheel the Caryatid or maybe a land. We shall see. All right, pick two. We have not the greatest options. There's a Once Upon a Time, which is just a solid card. There's an Upheaval, which doesn't exactly go great with the sneak attack. There's a Tropical Island, which is some great fixing in two of the cube's best colors, in my opinion. There's also an Essica's Chariot, which in a green-red aggro deck, or pretty much any aggro deck, is a pretty strong 4-drop, especially if you can ramp into it a little bit early. I think I like it more than Once Upon a Time, but in a sneak attack deck, Once Upon a Time might be a little bit better. I do like to be in green-red, even if it's not the best color combination. So let's just take this Once Upon a Time. All right, pick three. There's a couple very good options here. So there's an Arbor Elf, which is solid ramp, but probably not what I'm going to take here, because there's a Through the Breach, as well as an Arid Mesa. Now, Arid Mesa is a fetch land, which fetch lands are very, very good. But I already have a sneak attack, and taking the Through the Breach means any big creature that I pick up is definitely going to be great in my deck. Leaves me the most open. I could be blue-red as well. There's a Brainstorm and a Jataxian Probe here, which are also good. Lotus Petal is fine. And yeah, I'm just going to take the Through the Breach. If it wasn't here, probably the Arid Mesa, but could make an argument for Arbor Elf. I do like drafting that deck. All right, in this pack, there is nothing great to breach still. There's a Magda, which ramps into your sneak attack and you're Through the Breach while being an aggressive creature. There's a Pyrokinesis, which is just fine, not as good as Fury, obviously. There's a Jiraga Tree Speaker, which is, I think, solid ramp. I have not played the cube and drafted Jiraga Tree Speaker since it's been added. But I think that's going to be the pick here. It ramps a little bit faster than Magda, and also can be sort of like a Soul Ring, where on turn 3, you're able to play a 5-drop, which is pretty darn solid. So let's take the Tree Speaker. Don't love Oath of Druids. Walking Ballista is good, but not great here. Probably the best card, though. Let's just take the Tree Speaker. In this pack, we have an Armageddon, fun. Freya's Apprentice. I think I'm going to take the Wormcoil Engine as just something that you can ramp into while also sneak attacking or Through the Breaching for a solid amount of value. There's also Survival of the Fittest, though, which could be pretty good, could also wheel. It would be very good in this deck, especially if I can get a lot of elves. I can pitch the elves late, or I can pitch my big creatures if I don't have a way to cheat them into play or ramp them out. But I think I'll just take a Wormcoil Engine as kind of a backup target. In this pack, there is a Worn Power Stone, which is a good way to ramp. There's a Ponder and a Force of Negation, both of which are pretty late. And there's also a Goblin Rabblemaster, which is a good card to 1-drop into. This 1-drop does not work with Goblin Rabblemaster. So I think it's between the Power Stone and the Rabble Master, and it just depends if I'm going to be more of an aggro deck with these as my top end, or if I'm going to be more of a ramp deck. There could also just take a Ponder or a Force of Negation to try and stay open, and honestly, I think I might actually just take this Ponder and maybe be a blue-red combo deck as well. I think those are pretty good in this cube. In this pack, there is a Phantasmal Image. There's a Desperate Ritual, which does ramp into these things, all right, but I think with this green-red start, we're sort of cultivating here. I think Rule Signet is a lot better than the Desperate Ritual, so I'm going to take that. Moving into this pack, there's a Reclamation Sage, Elvish Reclaimer, both not looking great here. Chandra is a great card to ramp into and also helps you ramp into your even bigger stuff. So I think I'm going to take Chandra. I like it quite a bit. It's not incredible, but it's a solid card. Now here we did wheel a Waterlogged Grove as well as an Overgrown Tomb. There's also a Capture of Jingzhou and a Stormcatch Mentor. I don't know how great those are going to be here. Could be 3-color, though. Deciding if I would rather splash black or blue. The Overgrown Tomb is better, but blue is usually a better color to splash. Also, I have a Ponder already. I think I'm pretty unlikely to play either of them, but I will just take the Waterlogged Grove. Now there's a Blightsteel Colossus, which is okay to sneak attack in. If they have a blocker, it just doesn't win, because you're not infecting with any other cards. There's also an Upheaval, which could be pretty good with the amount of fast ramp I have and I'm looking to pick up. But I think I'll just take Blightsteel as kind of a backup target. Now there's a Kinnan to ramp me even harder, kind of wishing I took that Upheaval to help with it, but there's also a Lotus Petal, which can help me get out my powerful stuff a turn earlier, so I'll just take that. I only have one little creature, so I could be an Oath of Druids deck, although I don't want to, but I'll try it for now. Now there is an Abrupt Decay, an Empty the Warrens, and an Armageddon. I'm just going to take the Armageddon. Who knows? Maybe I play it. Probably not. Don't have any artifact stuff going on. I mean, I have a Signet and a Petal, but I'm just going to take the Finale. Maybe I play it. There's a Desperate Ritual, which could definitely play if my plan is just to turbo people out. All right, going into pack 2, not looking incredible. There's a Simic Signet. There's an Expressive Iteration. Other than that, there's a Chain Lightning, which is fine removal, not incredible. And there's some good black cards. Well, a good black card. There's the Voidwalker and the Metalworker. Suppose I do have some big stuff to ramp into, so I could take this Metalworker, but I think I'd rather just take the Expressive Iteration and see what comes of it. Hopefully can wheel this Simic Signet and maybe be more of a blue-red combo deck. In this pack, there is a Stomping Ground, a Frantic Search, a Wildfire, which is a card I quite enjoy, but I think I just have to take... Oh, of course, there's a Wasteland as well, which is probably the best card here, but Woodfall Primus is very good with Sneak Attack, very good with Throw the Breach, and it looks like I'm just going to be trying to combo. That's going to be my main game plan here, so let's take a Woodfall Primus, and would love to wheel a Stomping Ground. Don't think that's going to happen, though. All right, moving into the next pack, there is a Channel, which could be pretty good with this Blightsteel, I suppose, as well as with the Wormcoil. There's also a Voltborn Tyrant, which is kind of the best thing to sneak attack / through the breach. Not the best thing, but one of the better things to do, because it hangs around like the Woodfall Primus, so I think I'm just going to take more top end, as it looks like, yeah, I just want to have that consistency. And Channel is great, but so is Vaultborn Tyrant. Now, in this pack, there is a Prismatic Vista, which is just incredible fixing. There's also 3 visits to ramp me a little bit, but I think I'm just going to take solid fixing because I'm looking like I kind of want to be 3 color here, and that's going to help out a lot with that. Moving into the next pack, there's a Utopia Sprawl, as well as an Imperial Recruiter, which I'm definitely not taking, and there's a Kozilek, which is another thing I can sneak attack or through the breach. Would have been better had I taken the channel from the last path, but I didn't. I took the Vaultborn Tyrant, and maybe regretting that a little bit now. I could also just take Utopia Sprawl. Not having access to creature ramp means I might be lacking a little bit if I want to play this Oath of Druids. So let's just take the Utopia Sprawl. Move this stuff around a little bit. Now, in this pack, there is a Sensei's Divining Top, as well as a Vorinclex, which is a little easier to ramp into, and then, of course, can also be a fine through the breach target, but not incredible. Better with the Oath of Druids. Still not incredible. I could take a green-red dual land and possibly splash the Armageddon as well. Maybe I wheel the Ravages of War too. I think I'll do that. Moving into this pack, there's an Ignoble Hierarch, which would be very, very good here. I would have to give up on my Oath of Druids, however, which is a little unfortunate. But I think it's good enough, and it's better enough than this Nissa. Although, maybe I just want a Nissa to be able to ramp into sometimes. Have 1, 2, not a ton of ramp, but an okay amount. I think the Hierarch is just going to be enough better, and I'm not going to be missing the Nissa, that I will just take it. In this pack, there's another green-red dual land. Is a tapped one, not one I'm very excited to play. There's also a Boros Signet, which I think I will take, and maybe just, again, only play the Artifact ramp and try and play this Oath of Druids. Could also play the Armageddon here. So let's put that in for now. Gonna take the Simic Signet as just another Signet to help me ramp into my 4, 5, and 6 drops, as well as not be a creature for the Oath of Druids. Now there's a Plateau and a Wildfire. Wildfire, it seems like this could definitely be a pretty good Wildfire deck. So I think I will take it. I already have some fixing for the white, not really needing that. Now there's a Gargaroth, which this kind of seems like the deck for Gargaroth. It's not great to breach or sneak attack, but it's fine to hit off of Oath of Druids, and it is a little bit easier to cast. So it's between that and the Flame Slash. I don't really have any removal. I think I'm still going to take the Flame Slash. Now there's a Sundering Titan, which is fine to sneak attack and through the breach, not incredible. And there's a Deep Forest Hermit, which again is fine. I think I'm going to take that just so I have a little bit of a cheaper option, although it's still not super cheap. Let's take the Lightning Helix and the Ravages of War and Kithian for the sideboard and see what we can do here. Kind of looking like an Armageddon deck, although I don't know how great that's going to be. Maybe I can get a little bit of a lands sub-theme going here. Wow. There's a Mana Vault and a Fable. Now, I can't pass a Mana Vault here, of course, as I have Sneak Attack through the breach and just all this great big stuff to ramp into, as well as the Signets to kind of just get me ahead on mana. But Fable looking incredible here. No 3-drops. Kind of works really well with Ravages of War and Armageddon because I can make treasures. Ramps me into stuff. Oh gosh. Am I taking a Fable here? I don't think that's something you should do, but I don't even know how good Mana Vault is going to be in this deck. It's really good with Sneak Attack and Through the Breach, but Fable is just so good with my secondary game plan, and I think I'm pretty likely to wield the Seething Song and Selesnya Signet. I'm just going to take the Fable. And maybe that's wrong. You can flame me in the comments. I'd just be happy that you left a comment. But I'm going to take the Fable here. It seems strong. This Once Upon a Time might have to get out, as I'm currently planning on not playing any creatures other than the really big stuff. Worldspine Worm is another great one. I could probably cut the Blightsteel Colossus at this point. There's also a Balance, which I'm not running creatures, so Balance looking like kind of just a Wrath here. Is it better than Worldspine Worm? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 fine targets, 3 good ones. I think I'll just take the Worldspine Worm. Alright, in this pack there is a Ketria Triome, as well as a Manamorphose, Sylvan Library, and an Ulvenwald Oddity. I love the Oddity, doesn't seem like this is the deck for it. This gets blue, white, green, red, and this is green, red, blue, so I guess the Flooded Strand is just better, because it fetches Island or Jetmir's Garden. So let's take that. Now, in this pack, there is a Jace the Mind Sculptor, a Chandra Hope's Beacon, a Bloodstained Mire, also only really fetches the Jetmir's Garden. A lot of good black cards. Tutor, Liliana, Exhume. But I think I'm taking... I don't know. This is a hard pick. Challenging one for sure. Maybe just Chandra. Little more kind of top end, medium top end. Gets me ahead on mana as well. Now I'm going to, I believe, just pick up this City of Traders. Seems pretty good here. There's also a Teferi, I guess, which I think my mana is good enough to support. Let's cut this Ignoble Hierarch. And I could end step Armageddon, although I don't know when that would ever be relevant. But it kind of helps in the early game, and City of Traders isn't looking incredible here. Let's take the Teferi. Now there's an Omnath, which I do love, but this is not the deck for Omnath, as I am not running small creatures, though Omnath is more of a medium-sized creature. Still pretty small. I think I'll just take Show and Tell. I'll have one more way to get my stuff into play. And now, there's a Kogla, which is kind of a medium thing to cheat in. There's a Battle Sphere, also pretty medium to cheat in. I think Wildfire is getting cut. We'll see. The Ramanop Excavator is pretty solid with both of these Ravages and Armageddons. So I think I will just take that. It is pretty bad with Oath of Druids, however. But I do have 2 fetches, and maybe it's worth to just play one thing that isn't the best hit, and it still is a great hit if I have an Armageddon. Let's take it and maybe play it. Maybe not. Now there's an Ulamog, a Fire Blast, Iona. Pretty good to Show and Tell this one. Or to Oath of Druids it. Not great to Through the Breach or Sneak Attack. Maybe just take this Wrath. Now there's a Goyf or a Seething Song. I'm just going to take the Seething Song, and it's going to help me ramp a little bit, hopefully. Now there's a Balance. There's also a Razor Verge Thicket, which I kind of want, but I'm just going to take the Balance as a better Wrath than this Wrath. Now I'm going to take the Savannah, I think, over a Sylvan Library. Just, well, no, maybe I take Sylvan. I have already a green-white land. I think I'll take the Sylvan Library. Now I'll take a Questing Beast for the board, and a Brain Freeze so no one else can have it, and a Voice of Resurgent that I'm not going to play. Enlightened Tutor. Maybe playing that one. It searches for Oath of Druids, Fable, Sneak Attack. That's pretty solid. Maybe cutting the Destroy All Lands package, as well as... I think I kind of want the rest of these cards. I think Enlightened Tutor can go. It's just a little worse, as can Deep Forest Hermit and maybe the big Chandra. Let's just have all our big stuff be a little bit easier to cheat into play with this stuff. And yeah, I will see you guys back for the first match. Let's just get right into it. See if we can put some big creatures into play. This hand casts Chandra on turn 2, so I'm going to keep it. Not much else to say, and once the Chandra is down, this hand can top deck something to sneak attack, and hopefully just do that and win pretty easily. Our opponent is on a mulligan to 5, so that is also good for us. Let's see what we can get done. I think I'm going to choose red to have double red, although maybe it's better to choose white, as that's the color I'm missing. Hopefully it doesn't end up mattering. Opponent also plays a Utopia Sprawl on turn 1, also chooses red. We'll see if their start is as fast as mine, though. Looking like it's not going to matter that I didn't get that white mana, as now I'm just able to play this Boros Signet with my Chandra and just start ticking it up. Maybe my opponent plays a creature that I can kill. Hopefully they don't kill my Chandra, as I will be pretty much out of gas and liable to lose a game that started with them mulling to 5. So let's untap, draw. Oath of Druids is a great one. Let's plus the Chandra, hitting a Desperate Ritual. Do I want to cast that? So that would allow me to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I will cast it because that way I can play Oath of Druids and play Sneak Attack, even if I don't get to activate the Sneak Attack here. So let's do this. Let's do this and just drop my whole hand on turn 3. And yeah. Oath of Druids into something pretty sweet next turn, hopefully. We'll see what my opponent plays too. Hopefully nothing that kills my Chandra, as it's still my only source of card advantage. They are attacking the Chandra, and I am okay with that. So, I will target them as an opponent who controls more creatures than me. I will choose to use Oath of Druid's ability, mill a whole bunch of cards, and get a Vaultborn Tyrant. And it looks like they are willing to pack it in there. Wasn't drawing anything crazy after that, but Vaultborn Tyrant's pretty good. Pretty darn good. Alright, I did not see a ton of their deck, but I don't think there's anything I want to change. Let's just hop into the next match. Well, this hand is not awful. Honestly, actually pretty good, because I have this Fable to loot away my big stuff that I can't cast right now. Maybe keep one thing, because I do have a Sneak Attack and a Through the Breach in my deck, and I'm also able to turn to this Lightning Helix with the Jetmir's Garden. My opponent is going lightning fast, but I do have some removal if I need to catch up. Fetching a Triome? No, just a Stomping Ground tapped. So they have their colors online. They have an Exploration online. They did mull to 6, though. Play 2 lands, up to 4 mana on turn 2, similar to myself last game, and down to 2 cards with no play. So let's just play a mountain and pass. Unsure what their plan is here. Hopefully not getting Armageddoned, but I guess I could live with that at a certain point. They're going to play a Generous Plunderer, go down to 1 card in hand to play a 5th land on turn 3. I'm going to kill the Generous Plunderer and gain 3 life. Then I'll untap. Oh boy. Slam this Fable and pass the turn. So looking pretty good for me here. Would like to top deck a Ritual so that I can just Sneak Attack pre-combat, but if I can't, so be it. I'll just cast the Sneak Attack now and then play it next turn. I think I'm going to discard this World Spine Worm, as I'd like to find some more gas, and if they kill my Sneak Attack, it's not doing anything. If they don't kill my sneak attack, I'm pretty sure I'll just win by Vaultborn Tyranting them. So let's do that. Next turn, I'm going to get to sneak attack in a Vaultborn Tyrant. And the following turns, possibly Fable that same Vaultborn Tyrant, which is a lot of value. Looks like a Inferno Titan from my opponent. Pretty good card. We'll see if it's better than this Vaultborn Tyrant, though. I guess getting punished for not keeping the Worldspine Worm, as my opponent would just be dead here, and really have nothing in hand, but they do just scoop it up. Would have found it eventually and probably won off of that. That is going to be it for round 1, a pretty fast and easy win. Before I jump into the second match here, I just want to thank everyone for watching and supporting my YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe and like the videos, as well as leave some comments if you want to see more. And again, if there's anything I could have done differently, of course, let me know. Anything you would have done differently, let me know. But let's get into match number 2. Okay, looking like a weird hand. I have some interaction, and I have some big stuff, but I have no way to get the big stuff out. I think I will keep it and possibly just hang out and do nothing for a minute before I balance them. I think I'm going to hold off on fetching with the Prismatic Vista as well. But let's see what I can get done. If I top deck a Show and Tell or something else to get one of these big things into play, that would be ideal. Opponent leads on a Celestial Colonnade. Okay, so I find a green source, so let's just play that out. I guess maybe better to play the Vista and get a mountain in case I want to Lightning Helix something, but I'm not really in a rush to do that. Could start sandbagging lands as well at some point, but I think for now I'll just keep playing stuff out and not really doing anything. Don't need to do anything. Again, maybe should have fetched the mountain by now, but I'm okay drawing more lands, so I don't really need to deck thin. And I'm not imagining that there's going to be a ton to do on my opponent's turn that I absolutely need to. Vindicating my land, I'm pretty happy with. So, let's go ahead and I guess I'm going to Lotus Petal this Show and Tell out. And put the Woodfall Primus into play just to... wow. Okay, we both have a Woodfall Primus now. I guess all is fair. All is balanced. That's a funny interaction to have happen. I think I'm going to blow up the Colonnade. Oh! I guess it does not work the way they wanted it to. I thought it did, but I guess not. We'll see what they can do. They have to copy their Orzhov Signet. Yeah, I really didn't know that that worked that way, but I guess you select as it enters the battlefield, and anything that enters the battlefield at the same time doesn't see it entering the battlefield. I don't know exactly why that works like that. Weird interaction. I thought it worked the other way, but I guess not. If it targeted, it would work. The ability wouldn't go on the stack until it reaches the battlefield, but I'm not gonna pretend I know why that happened. If you know, let me know in the comments, because that stuff is interesting to me. I like to know why rules interactions happen certain ways, and it's good to know as much of the rules as you can, because it helps you make some pretty cool plays sometimes. My opponent tapping out for nothing. Kind of an odd play. It seems like I'm getting a little bit lucky here, or just maybe my opponent doesn't fully know what they're doing. I don't know why you would ever do that. Maybe just a misclick. Unfortunate. It happens. I find a Teferi Time Raveler. So I guess I'm fetching an island now, and I'm just going to play that out and plus it. Don't need to bounce anything now. Let's get in with the Woodfall Primus. I'm not necessarily in a hurry to draw a bunch of cards either. Kind of just going to hang out with this Woodfall Primus in play, and if they do find an answer to it, wait for them to play some lands and try and hit a big balance before putting myself into a top deck position with them. No red mana is kind of rough here. They did vindicate my Jetmir's Garden, which stopped me from having that. Opponent plays a Tundra, up to 6 mana now, so can start doing some ridiculous stuff, especially in Cube Draft. Tapping out again, it looks like, and going for an extra turn here. So maybe that's what they wanted to do, and it wouldn't let them undo it or something last turn. But Time Walk I'm not particularly worried about here, as they don't really have anything going for them while they Time Walk. It kind of just drew them a card for 0 mana. And gave them an extra land drop, I suppose, if that's something they have. But also unclear if they have that. So this balance currently allows me to sacrifice my Woodfall Primus, makes them discard some cards, and blows up one of their lands. The Woodfall Primus would then come back and blow up another one of their lands, but I don't know if that's a play I want to make yet. I think I'd rather have the Persist available. Opponent plays a Coercive Portal, which is going to get bounced by my Teferi. See what I draw. Through the Breach is pretty solid. I will take that one. Let's bounce the Coercive Portal. Opponent can't do anything on my turn, so not really worried about that. Play a Forest and attack with the Woodfall Primus. Opponent is attempting to cast something on my turn, possibly. Cycling a Shark Typhoon for 0? Okay, so they draw a card. That's all that does there. Will take 6, going down to 8. And 2 more attacks from this Woodfall Primus will get it done. Can't bounce the Coercive Portal again yet next turn. So my opponent may have a chance to draw an additional card. Could also let it destroy everything if that's the way they vote, as it would allow me to destroy another land and kill both of those Orzhov Signets. But we'll see what my opponent does here. Looks like they're just going for the Coercive Portal again. Hopefully have some counter spells in hand. Oh no, this is a Skyclave Apparition, which is going to be targeting my Teferi, I presume. Hopefully I can just top deck it Through the Breach. So that kind of makes me feel like they do have counter spells, as the Teferi wasn't doing a ton otherwise, and I think it would have been better for them to just get the Coercive Portal down. Alright, nothing after that. Looks like a counterspell or mana drain, which I'm definitely going to play around, but as of now, I don't need to play anything to the board. I can just hit with my big creature and wait. Not that I could play anything to the board anyway, but not going to. Let's just F6, nothing to do here. Wait for my opponent to make a play. Hopefully this Woodfall Primus gets it done. If not, the game will go on. Have a lot of time here, it seems. My opponent is not doing a whole bunch. Remember, they do still have the Coercive Portal in hand, not playing it here. Tapping mana on their end step, so we'll see what this is. Maybe something that blinks my thing out until the next end step. Looking like they're going to have to play a blue mana here, pay a blue mana here, because otherwise they would want to leave that untapped as they did last turn. And it looks like maybe a little bit of a mistake coming out from my opponent. I guess I'll take those, though. Not here to not take them. Don't think I want to board anything in. Could, I guess, board into the Ravages Armageddon plan. But I think I'm pretty happy to just resubmit. Opponent is on the play here. I have a okay hand, missing a land or two. But I think I'm still going to keep it on the draw with a Forest and a Utopia Sprawl. Can play the Sylvan Library and hopefully try and find something with that. They go turn 1 Library of Alexandria. I'm going to lead on the Jetmir's Garden, and next turn play a Utopia Sprawl and a Sylvan Library, and probably name blue to be able to use this show and tell and try and go into something big. My opponent fails to activate Library before playing a land. Not a great play on their end. Not really sure what's going on there. I don't think there's ever a reason to do that on purpose. Library is an incredible card, and you want to be getting that value off of it. I will choose blue for my show and tell, and let's just play it slow, get this mana going, and then next turn can play out my Sylvan Library and maybe play a removal spell. We will see. Opponent needs to activate Library now. They do it this time. So, learning from their mistakes, I draw a Boros Signet. So let's play the Boros Signet one. Oh goodness, is there a better way to do this? I don't think so. No, Signets are so weird. Alright. Let's play a Boros Signet and see if they counter it or not. Looks like they're going to counter it, which I guess if it's a mana leak, that's one thing, as I'm currently unable to pay for it. Now I do get to resolve my Sylvan Library, and that Boros Signet was not doing a ton for me. So, all right with me. Let's see what their next play is. Probably draw with Library. There they go. And then play a land. Gosh, Library is just so good. So good. I know that's right. Play a Flooded Strand and leaving up mana for counterspells. Let's draw 2 additional cards. And let's just keep them all. Lose the life. Who needs it? Now I will play my sneak attack. It resolves, and I'll pass the turn. See what my opponent gets up to on end step. Cycling something, maybe drawing a card, Cyclonic Rifting my sneak attack, so basically just a time walk there. Getting a Tundra, still very good mana for them. And still getting to activate this Library of Alexandria. An incredible card. Opponent taps 5 mana to take an extra turn. This is taking them off of Library, though. They untap and only have 6 cards in hand. Again, not too worried about that extra turn because they didn't have a ton going on board. They play an Orzhov Signet and nothing else yet, but we shall see. Tapping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to play, hopefully a creature, so I can use one of these removal spells. But I don't know how many creatures they really have in that deck of theirs over there. Would like to top deck a Vaultborn Tyrant. They play a Treasure Cruise. Okay, draw 3 cards, go ahead. I will untap and also draw 3 cards. Find Not a ton. Let's keep the plains and put back the forest. Play out Teferi and bounce the Orzhov Signet. Going up to 7 cards in hand and hopefully finding something good to do next turn. So their Library of Alexandria is back online. They're just going to replay the Orzhov Signet, take their library offline. Don't think you ever want to do that. My opponent should just keep drawing cards here, and in a control deck, probably just try and destroy every single thing that I'm doing. I am a little light on threats currently, and gonna need to find something here because my opponent cannot counter my spells. So let's put back that and the balance. I don't really need a balance here. That would blow up 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 lands. It would blow up 3 of their lands and cause me to discard a couple cards, which maybe is worth it. But I think I just don't want to lose the life. Now I can go to my main phase. I can ponder. And with the ponder, I can shuffle to try and find... Oh, no. Accidentally clicked through the shuffle. That's pretty brutal here for me. Let's just Lightning Helix that. And wow, that was very bad. Play this Waterlogged Grove with the intent to crack it. And I guess having the balance is okay here. Again, I would have preferred to have the Fable in hand, although I do only have 1 red mana still. Opponent is tapping 4 mana for, I assume, a Shark Typhoon at the end of my turn. Looks like that is indeed what it is. Okay. We'll see if they are attacking me. Probably just going to kill the Teferi here, get that out of the way, turn on all their counter spells again. And yep, that's what happens. I'm still planning on cracking this Waterlogged Grove, which gives me 1 less land for the balance. Hopefully they play some more creatures out here so I can kind of sweep even more stuff away. Coercive Portal is not a creature. And do they have another play? No, they're just holding up mana. I will crack the Waterlogged Grove. We'll draw an additional 2 cards off of my Sylvan Library. Find a big threat. So let's put the Fable on top. Don't need that now. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana, which is good enough for 7 once I play a land, a Breach and an Oath of Druids, but not a Breach and a Show and Tell. So let's keep that and just have those in my hand. Let's start with the Oath of Druids, and then maybe they're just tapped out here. That resolved very quickly. Do that. 1, 2, through the Breach. A Vaultborn Tyrant. Looks like they are just tapped out. So Oath of Druids currently not triggering for anybody, but this is a pretty good attack in for me. Gonna start drawing some more cards, gaining some life, and overall pretty happy with the way this worked out. The reason I played the Oath of Druids first is because I did see Mana Leak in the first game, and so I wanted to make sure that I could resolve that, even if they did counter the other one. My opponent votes Homage, which is the card draw one, so I'll also vote Homage. It doesn't really matter. If they want to draw the card, they'll get to. This Flooded Strand currently does not fetch an untapped red, which is a little bit unfortunate, as I'm kind of lacking in that color right now. Opponent plays a Teferi Time Raveler. Pretty good one. If they bounce my Vaultborn Tyrant, though, I do get to Oath of Druids. So, maybe not the best play from them. Maybe they have a Tidebinder or something along the lines of that to stop my Oath of Druids from happening. I don't know if that's still in the cube, actually. Guess I will find out, though. And they are also playing a Vindicate on my Oath of Druids. Makes a little more sense now. Alright, and a Lion Sash. So, I will untap, draw a couple more with this Sylvan Library. 1, 2, put back that and the Gruul Signet. Then I will cast this Balance. See what my opponent does in response to that, if anything. Maybe just holding up a mana leak here. If they cast it, I'll cast it. Looks like they're just exiling my Vaultborn Tyrant. That's okay. Didn't have a way to get around that. I'm going to have to discard quite a few cards here. But I don't mind discarding the Forest, or the Flame Slash, or the Show and Tell at this point when I have a Sneak Attack in hand. So choose 3 cards in your hand, discard the rest. Let's keep the Fable, keep the Flooded Strand so I can fetch this turn, and keep the Sneak Attack, and get rid of the rest. My opponent loses some lands and their creatures, and I will, I think, just play this Sneak Attack, play a Flooded Strand, and just crack it now to shuffle my library. Clear the top of my deck from those cards that got stuck there with the Sylvan. And still unfortunate that I don't have 2 red sources, but what you gonna do? Opponent votes Carnage. I will vote Homage. You may draw a card. Opponent is paying life for a Phyrexian Metamorph on the Coercive Portal, so we'll now be drawing even more cards per turn. We'll see if it matters, see what I can find off the Sneak Attack. They're voting Carnage. I might be voting Carnage starting pretty soon. So I'm able to find a second red source. Let's draw the extra 2 cards. Put back that. Put back that. Don't want to take the damage here. Play the Vista. Fetch with it to shuffle away those cards again, and hopefully find one of my big guys. Got 3 of them left, and quite a few draws to find them. Let's play the Fable, and pass. Opponent votes Homage. I'll vote Carnage. And with the second one, opponent votes Homage. I'll vote Carnage. Just going to disagree with them at every possible turn. Don't want to give them what they want. And looks like they're maybe flooding out a little bit. If they want to keep drawing, they are going to Skyclave the Sneak Attack. So get to keep the Fable, get to keep the Sylvan. Have a couple things I can hardcast, but I can't hardcast all my big stuff. At least my Worldspine Worm I can't hardcast. Alright, let's draw 2 cards. Put back these. Let's keep one just to loot it away. And let's put back the, well, Yeah, let's put that back and loot away this Gruul Signet. Yes, discard a Gruul Signet. Draw a Lotus Petal. Let's cast Expressive Iteration. Find Chandra Woodfall Primus. So let's see, can I cast this Woodfall Primus? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can, so let's get the Chandra into hand. That and that. Let's go to combat. Attack Teferi. Making a treasure. Teferi takes 2 damage. Let's play this Lotus Petal out. Let's activate that, and let's attempt to cast this Woodfall Primus. Resolves, I will blow up the Celestial Colonnade, which could just kill me, and pass the turn. At this point, if they want to vote Carnage with either of them, I'm pretty happy to let that happen. What does it do? Destroy all non-land permanents? Sure, let's do it. So I will end this by getting 2 triggers here. This Woodfall Primus will, I suppose, destroy second blue in case they have a counter spell. Still have a 5/5 and a 4/4 in play after the Skyclave resolves with a Chandra in hand. So feeling pretty good. Definitely have to vote Homage on this one. Let them vote, let them draw an additional card, and let them take their turn. Only 5 lands, though. If they have a Wrath, that's pretty good for them, but I still have this Chandra to hopefully clock them. Looks like a Supreme Verdict, so they do have the Wrath, and 5 cards in hand, so quite a few over there, and plays a Wall of Omens to draw a card. Fine by me. Let's play Chandra out. And I suppose I die before I can fully utilize this Chandra. So maybe I'm supposed to just plus. No, let's plus. Forest. I won't cast it. I will play this mountain and pass, possibly mill myself out here, but we'll see. I don't think I can just try and tick up the Chandra. I think that's never going to work, and I'm probably just going to lose here. Could probably pack it in now, but I'll wait a turn. My opponent is going to allow me to kill this Sarah Paragon, so let's do that. And I basically have Wormcoil Engine or Bust here. Don't think I have enough mana left in my deck to cast this World's Fine Worm, but yeah, and I don't have a way to keep shuffling it back into my deck. Opponent taps 8 for Ugin, and I'll pack it in to an Ugin. That is going to be good enough to win this game. Let's go to game 3. I think I'm going to board out maybe a removal spell, although they did have a couple things, but I don't think I need this Lightning Helix, and I think it might be helpful to have a Chandra. So let's bring in the Chandra for the Lightning Helix and just submit again, and try and do some big stuff here. So this hand is fine, not great, need a Forest for this Utopia Sprawl. I have 7 in my deck, not a ton, maybe it's not good enough here, but kind of have to play it, play the cards that I drafted. And yeah, starting with a turn 2 Boros Signet into a turn 3 either Sneak Attack or Teferi. Opponent still with very good mana on their end. Let's just play this Signet out and pass. Probably fetching a Tundra for themselves. Am I getting Spell Pierced here? No, I am not. Okay, so let's see what they go for here. Plains into Looks like they're tapping mana. That's an Orzhov Signet, which is going to get bounced by my Teferi. And that is a very good draw, is the Jetmir's Garden. Gives me a spot to put my Utopia Sprawl, and also gives me red mana for this sneak attack in a couple turns. So let's just slow them down a little bit, bounce that, hopefully resolve this sneak attack. But if not, I'm getting to the point where I can just cast my 6 and 7 drops. Good, I don't have the Worm Coil, and I have this instead. That is a Wedding Announcement, which I'm not super worried about right now, and looks like I am going to be able to just sneak attack here. So let's cast it. Let's play a Vaultborn Tyrant for 1 mana. This is whenever a creature with power 4 or greater, so the Worm Coil tokens won't trigger it. Let's plus this, get in with the Vaultborn Tyrant, and end step, sack it, make a copy, and draw a card. Pretty happy with that, and if they can't kill this sneak attack, it's looking pretty over for them. There's Library, a couple turns too late. Looking like a Vindicate on my sneak attack, which is pretty good for them. Vindicate my Vaultborn Tyrant and attack my Teferi. That's probably not good enough for them, as, yeah, I got more. I got more where that came from. Especially one big, beefy Worm Coil. Or World Spine. I have 2 worms in my hand. So let's put that into play. Let's Utopia Sprawl here. Choose red. Let's put this one into play. And plus my Teferi. I'm just doing stuff at this point. Believe this should be lethal, and there shouldn't be anything they can do about it, since I have Teferi in play. Nice little turn 5 kill. Alright, and that is going to be the match. Match 2, currently 2-0 with a pretty sweet 4-color combo Oath of Druids deck. Kind of a lot going on in this deck, but I mean, it's working out for me so far. I feel like my opponents have not had the greatest decks, but I'll take them. See you in match number 3. Jumping into match number 3 now. I'm on the play with a very sweet 4-color ramp deck, trying to power out Wormcoil engines as well as other Through the Breach and sneak attack targets. Don't have a forest for the Utopia Sprawl. I do think this is still a keep. I can turn 4, or turn 3, I suppose, a Wormcoil engine if I find another land. So let's start on a Plains and pass the turn. Opponent plays a tapped Restless Fence, which is not great for them. I guess I should have let on the Waterlogged Grove so I could also get a Utopia Sprawl down this turn, but I will just play the Gruul Signet. And do I have enough mana to Wormcoil next turn? I can go Grove. That gives me 4 plus 2 from the Seeding Song. Should be good enough. So let's go for a turn 3 Wormcoil engine. Let's play the Grove. Enchant this land here. Choose red, as I am a little bit red hungry in this deck. Let's tap all that. Play a Seething Song. Add 5 red, and play a Wormcoil on turn 3. So, kind of out of gas after this, but it's not a bad start. Wormcoil Engine is a pretty solid card. Have a piece of removal, as well as the Waterlogged Grove that can be cracked. My opponent is going to either find an answer or something very good to do. We'll see what they have. Hopefully nothing too powerful, and hopefully this Wormcoil engine can run away with the game, but we shall see. Wow. Show and tell. I will put this into play. My opponent will put an Archon into play, and I will lose this and probably die to an Archon of Cruelty, but we'll see. Pretty good play from my opponent. Might have to board out my own Show and Tell, because that is a very good target. I suppose I shouldn't have played the Flooded Strand with that, just so that I could activate my, or not activate, wow. That is not too great for me. It turns out tapping my planes to do that is going to end up costing me. Yeah, could have kept the Flame Slash. Oh well, let's get in with the Death Toucher and just pass. Lose a bunch of life, but not dead yet. Yeah, very unfortunate that I did not. I will sacrifice the Lifelinker, and, well, I guess it's too late. Discard the World Spine Worm, shuffle it back in, and take 6, go to 7. My opponent has 6 cards in hand, so a lot more than me. But if I can get this to Fury down, then I'm kind of stabilized, although that Archon was very, very good for my opponent. They play 4 mana for a sneak attack, so this Teferi bouncing an Archon is not looking as good anymore, and that's going to do it for me. Nothing I can do there, just going to die. Alright, my opponent has a very good combo deck, so might be time for me to start looking at ways to just kill them out of nowhere. I think I want this Blightsteel, and don't necessarily want the Lightning Helix. Might also not be a good spot for the Oath of Druids. Maybe I just put a little more ramp and aggression in my deck. Do a little bit of a rebuild here. Can maybe cut the Desperate Ritual as well, and could play an Armageddon. Maybe cut my own Show and Tell and try and ramp into an Armageddon. Probably want to play the Ramunap Excavator if I do have that as well. So let's cut the Lotus Petal as well, and maybe the Balance. And let's play the Armageddon over the Ravages. I think I just want one. Are there any other changes I want to make here, or is this looking good? I suppose I can play Once Upon a Time over an island at this point. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, not a bad hand here. Got some ramp, got a Sylvan Library, although I am going to need it to find me some stuff very quickly. Start off with a turn 1 Jaraga Tree Speaker. Next turn can level it up and play the Sylvan Library, and hopefully draw some good stuff. Opponent leads off on a Restless Fence again. So let's level up the elf and play out a Sylvan Library, passing the turn to my opponent. Probably going to lose some amount of life in order to draw some cards here. Opponent kills the Tree Speaker, which isn't the end of the world. See what I can find with this Sylvan Library. So I think I just want to dig deep here and need to find some other colored sources of mana, as I currently cannot cast the Armageddon, nor can I cast this Expressive Iteration, which both would be very good on the current board state. Let's see what my opponent does. Alright, that is an Armageddon-able. Well, now I can cast the Armageddon, is what I mean to say there. Will I, though? I think I'll pay for, and I'll put that one back on top. Then I will play the land and get in for 1. And I think just cast Armageddon here. Let's just get rid of all these lands. Sucks that I'm losing 4, my opponent only loses 3, but I do still have 2 mana sources in play to my opponent's 0, so it still seems like a solid play. I will start looking with this Sylvan Library. I will put back the Plains and the Sneak Attack. Not a ton I can do now. Let's just play this. Oh, got to use the Gruul Signet before. Alright, now I can start playing lands from the yard, which is pretty good for me, and in 2 turns I will be able to sneak attack this Blightsteel and win. Opponent still not doing a ton here, which is good for me. Let's dig a little bit deeper again. Find that. Let's put on top and put on top. And go for Utopia Sprawl here. Gonna choose blue, play a mountain from the yard, and just get in, I believe. Don't need to cast this iteration yet. Let's save it for when I don't know what I'm drawing next turn, and it also doesn't just win me the game. So this strategy is looking pretty good for me here. The Armageddon with a Ramanop Excavator. Maybe I should have just been on that to start, but I'm happy with the way my deck performed in the first couple matches. Opponent plays another land, up to 4 mana with the Mox Jet, hopefully tapping out for something not too good, tapping out for something pretty good. Okay, so I will draw 2 cards. I will put back that, and hit my opponent for 6 here. So not doing a ton, but I am hitting my land drops, and I am ahead on board currently with a Sylvan Library going. Maybe should have just paid 4 to keep an extra card, but I think I'm ahead enough that I don't want to die out of nowhere to like a Glorybringer or something along the lines of that. Okay, there's a Sneak Attack, which is pretty scary. So let's see what I can find here. Use the Sylvan Library. Put back those 2. I don't think I want to go to 4. I just have to hope my opponent is not going to kill me with the Sneak Attack next turn. The Mind Twist was very, very good. Suppose should have just played out that Sneak Attack. Although I was hiding it on top of my deck, it would have had to be exactly Mind Twist to shuffle it away along with my Blightsteel. So let's see what opponent does. Is it Archon? It is Emrakul, the Promised End. So 13 power in the air. Gonna get it done. I will die, and I will go 2-1 in this league. Overall, a solid deck. I'm happy to have drafted it, and it was pretty fun. The games that I won, pretty fun the games I lost. I think combo is very good in this cube, so I will be trying to draft more of it going forward. Happy that I took that pack 1, pick 1 Sneak Attack, and I will see you all in the next video. If you enjoyed this cube draft, please like, please subscribe, please comment. Let me know what you would have done differently, and I'm hoping to post some more modern gameplay pretty soon. I've been loving the Dimir Oculus deck, but unfortunately couldn't record that today as Magic Online was not working for Modern. So I will see you all in the next one.